Courtney's here.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm not here. You're here.
Yeah. Well, you're in London. How's London treating you?
Good. I've moved.
Yes. Oh, what? Moved here permanently?
Yeah. Well, hopefully.
Because you were in LA.
Nothing's permanent.
No, that's true.
I was in LA. I've still got my house in LA, but I'm here now in London indefinitely.
All over the place.
I went to EE. I got myself a prepaid SIM. I'm no longer a +1310. I'm now a +447.
Okay.
So it's that official.
Anyway, it's good to see you.
Nice to see you.
You're looking fabulous.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that you're Courtney today. Well, I guess you're always Courtney, aren't you?
Wow. You'd be disappointed if I was here out of drag, wouldn't you?
Because we've got a bit of Shane in there, have we?
Well, he's in here somewhere. We're both in here.
Australian Idol, 2003. It seems like a lifetime ago.
I mean, it was a lot of people's lifetimes ago. There were probably people, 2003, who were 15 years old who are watching or listening right now. And the world was a different place 15 years ago. We didn't have the internet, barely. We had the internet. We didn't have social media. We certainly didn't have Donald Trump as president of the US. Brexit.
Oh my God. Can we go back?
I know. But
obviously we need
the world's come a long way since with regards to, you know, queer visibility and trans rights and women's rights and race rights. And I think that, you know, there's good things that have happened.
It's amazing how far we've come, isn't it? But I think we need to keep fighting. I think more so now.
Yeah.
We need to fight harder.
Yeah, well now we've got... It's interesting because growing up I didn't feel intentionally apathetic, but I think that there was just... I felt like, oh, everything's pretty good for me. It's all pretty cushy. There's not a lot of stuff going on. And now it's like, oh, shit got real. Like, we've been shaken out of our apathy and it's time to, you know, start believing in a cause. And the great thing is, I think in 2018 we've got to this place where it's like our causes are intersectional. So like it's not just gay rights. You know, this year was Year of the Woman, and it was 100 years since women got the right to vote. And then you're like, actually, it was 100 years since white women got the right to vote. Yeah. Which I think is an important distinction. And
absolutely.
I think the cool thing in the queer community, and we're seeing that being queer doesn't just mean being a white gay man.
And of course, Me Too.
Yeah, and the Me Too movement, which is fascinating. It's interesting hearing like people's different views on it. Or what did Anne Widdecombe describe it as? Snowflakery. Yeah. And I was like, we're talking about decades, hundreds of years of women being less than, being property. The institution of marriage, which we're not allowed to change the definition of, was originally about ownership of women and property rights. So, I mean, to see the Me Too movement and men realising that they're not allowed to treat women like objects in the workplace, I think is a really important development. And I think that the cool thing about this generation is we're seeing a bit of empathy amongst other people. We're seeing an ability to view other people's experiences through different lenses, rather than just saying like, oh, it doesn't affect me. Nah, that must be wrong. It's
just a lazy response, isn't it? Don't want to dwell on her too much, but we must dwell on the tour.
Yes.
Under the Covers Tour, I think it's such a great name for a tour, because automatically I just think, oh, that's a bit of mystery. There's a mystique
a bed involved as well.
Yeah. Well, we all love that. Well, most of us, I would like to think. What have we got in store? Because we're going to be singing at the Troxy here in London. Yeah,
at the Troxy on the 10th. Under the Covers goes under the covers of pop music, our favourite covered songs. So Bjork's It's Oh So Quiet.
Oh, amazing.
Is actually from 1951 by Betty Hutton.
People realise that, do they?
Which was a cover of the 1948 classic Und jetzt ist so still, which is German for It's Oh So Quiet. Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You, I think a lot of people know, was a Dolly Parton original. So I'm going not just underneath our favourite covered songs, but underneath why we cover music and why we cover ourselves in so much stuff.
I love the sound of that. I can't wait to see the show. We don't need to mention that you're a party girl. We know that you're a party girl, but how does that go with touring?
See, on
you got
tour,
after parties?
I'm the most well-behaved.
Are you?
I'm the boring one.
That's professional though, isn't
ask
it?
any of the Drag Race girls. It's just, I think because I have to sing live, and so I can't go out and party and sing live. I like when I'm doing consecutive shows, especially this show because it's my show, 75 minutes of just me singing. It's vocally really demanding, and then I've got, you know, the night after London I'm somewhere else, the night before London I'm somewhere else, so I kind of go straight home to bed.
That's great, and you have to look good.
Yes, well, looking good's easy from a distance.
If it was me, I'd be distracted by everything, especially booze at the bar, and Free alcohol.
Sounding good is that there's nothing. The thing that I love most is being on stage and doing what I do. And if I can't do what I do because of my own fault, then I get really pissed off, and I learn really quickly not to do that, and to give myself the best opportunity when I'm doing the thing that I love doing.
You became the first queer contestant to openly, well, be out on a reality TV show to kind of set a precedent. Was it an accident?
Well, I mean, I was just being me.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I wasn't there with a platform, or I mean, same with Celebrity Big Brother, like Australian Idol. I just turned up because I thought it would be fun.
Yeah, no agenda.
No agenda, and then people were like, it was weird because I think back now, 2003, there was no queer people on television.
That's why it's incredible, isn't it?
There was no gay men, there was no lesbians, there was certainly no drag queens or trans people. Actually, there was a trans woman, Carlotta, in Australia. She's dubbed Australia's most famous transsexual. I remember in the 90s watching her on a panel show. There was like, it was called Beauty and the Beast, and there was like sort of Simon Cowell-esque, I suppose, but kind of, no, that's not fair. He was kind of like a talkback radio, like right-leaning kind of guy, and then his panel of beauties. And Carlotta was one of those, and she's probably the only visible non-heteronormative person that I can, think about in the climate when I was growing up. I mean, obviously your Boy Georges and other icons like that, but yeah, certainly in the 2000s when reality television and everything came in, it was fascinating to be like, oh wow, I was the first queer person on a variety talent show.
Go Courtney.
Yeah.
Go Courtney. Drag Race.
Yes.
I mean, everybody knows that you were on Drag Race. Adore Delano and Bianca Del Rio with you too. What an amazing series. I mean, one of the best, in my opinion. I think this series is great too, that's on at the moment. Are you watching at the moment? I am.
Yeah. Wait, what day is it? Thursday.
Yeah, it's almost time for the next episode.
What time do the episodes happen here?
I normally watch them Friday. I don't know when they drop, but it's usually Friday.
In Australia, I worked out that they come on the telly at 1 p.m. on Friday, but here I guess it's probably sooner.
Oh my God, you're there right on time. You can't miss it.
Well, because I was just in Australia and it was Friday and I was like, come on, where is it? I was sitting at home doing nothing.
It's addictive.
And then I Googled it and they said 1 p.m.
How does it feel watching it when you've been on the show? Does it feel weird?
You know what feels weird is I think that people think that I have been on the show, but I think when I talk about Drag Race or like this season of Drag Race, I'm worried that people maybe are thinking about the fact that I've been on the show and I'm not just a fan, because I just love watching the show. Like in my commentary, obviously I have insight into what it's like to be there, but it's not any sort of I have no ownership over it, or I'm just completely a fan and I love watching it.
So you were watching it before?
I was watching it before, yeah.
You were on the show? Just
from the first episode of Untucked this year with the Vixen, Monique, Monet and Asia. I was hooked on those four. And if you're not watching Untucked, you are only getting half the story.
That's true, isn't it?
It's so good.
It's explosive.
It is, and it's been great this year. I understand that some people saw that the Vixen became too explosive, or it was just. But I've just enjoyed watching it, and I was sad to see the Vixen go. I was sad to see Monique go. I was sad to see Monet go.
I was too, because I think it was an insecurity on Vixen's part.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot more layers there. And I think if she'd stayed, it would have come out. And
I think there was importance to the message that she was delivering. And I was glad that Monet was there to articulate it, especially when on the episode where Aquaria cried and the Vixen was calling her out. And then Monet sort of did this beautiful this sort of narration talking about, the angry black woman, and this is what the optics of the situation will be. And I do think that was important, because a lot of people are like, well, you are just an angry black woman. And it's like, well, that's the problem, is that she just gets categorized. There is no place for a black person on television to
It's been dismissed.
It's, and sort of, it's just been written off like that. And I think that's unfortunate. But I think that, I love, also the Vixen for me was in drag. To me, drag is when she made that black and white outfit out of the hats, people are like, oh, it was a bit unpolished and it was a bit this. I was like, yeah, but she made that out of hats, a bunch of hats. And to me, that's what drag always was. Drag wasn't about paying somebody thousands of dollars to make you a gorgeous gown.
Yeah.
It was about hot gluing shit together, and it did look a bit shoddy, but on stage, which is where drag was traditionally viewed from, it looked fabulous. And I remember, like, we would buy stuff from, it was called Reverse Garbage, and it was like a shop that sold like industrial waste, basically. We bought all these old videotapes, which looking back was probably highly toxic, but we cut up the videotapes into like bits this long and like hot glued fringe, and made these like spider costumes that were out of that like metallic-y black, and like just we would make costumes and clothes out of anything we could get our hands on, because we didn't have lots of money. We just had to use creativity and hot glue, basically. I couldn't sew.
That's the pure talent, isn't it? It's the energy that goes into it, yeah.
I mean, it's not, everybody gets something different from drag. Some people are lip syncers, some people make costumes, some people do wigs, but for me, drag was always about being an all-rounder. And I think that's what, you know, Drag Race does do. And I think a lot of the girls are like, I'm a lip syncer, I'm not getting to lip sync the numbers that they do and what they do best. And for somebody like Trinity Bonet on my season, like, whenever it came time to see her lip sync, you were like, oh, like now she's come into her own.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I just love watching Drag Race.
Do you see much of the bitchiness that comes with the competitions drag, particularly Drag Race? Do you see much of the cattiness that we don't see on screen, or when you're touring? Do you see a lot of that? No,
I think once I've certainly been privy to it in my drag youth. There was always like a East versus West in Sydney. And there was like, it was the Beige Brigade versus the New Millennium drags. So the Beige Brigade were like the old guard who had like a staunch set of rules about you had to wear like elbow length gloves and a certain kind of earring and like black liquid eyebrows and the X number of pantyhose and a certain kind of shoes which you had to colour with the special colour of beige shoe polish, which is why they were called the Beige Brigade, because they all wear the exact same shoes. And it was funny because there was always this rivalry between us, and then now everybody's friends. I think there's still rivalry in the Drag Race community, but I personally get on with most people, I think. I mean, some people, you know, but
you just have to ignore it to a certain extent.
For the most part. It's a really fun community to be a part of.